Welcome back everyone to the Schmidt Family Outdoors. Today we're out here on a much nicer Wisconsin day. And today we're going to do a little review on this Weatherby Vanguard Woodstock 257 Weatherby mag. The reason I'm doing this video is because a couple years ago out here in the same spot, I made a short with this gun shooting at 600 yards, shooting some steel. And everyone seemed to love it. I think the 257 Weatherby mag is an not underappreciated, but under-talked about cartridge. You know, there's a lot of us out there who really enjoy this cartridge, but there's not a lot of people out there who really spend the time talking about it. Everyone's talking about 6.5 Creeds, 7 PRC, you know, all these fancy cartridges, and even some of the other classics, you know, that used to be in that category, like 300 Win Mag, 7 Mag, 270, all those different cartridges that are just the staples. Everybody knows them, but 257 Weatherby mag is one of those that's not a lot of people have them. They're scared of them because of ammo costs. If you don't hand load, yeah, it's a real thing. And then the other thing is rifles. You know, Weatherby is the only one who really makes rifles. That's why I love their Vanguard line, because, you know, a Mark V, the cheapest Mark V is like $1,500, $2,000 rifle alone. Doesn't include your optic, you know, any other accessories you want to do. Great rifles. I do own older Mark V and 300 Weatherby, and I love it. But the reality is, not everybody's ready to spend that kind of money. Meanwhile, you've got the Vanguard series that you can buy for as cheap as, I don't know, $400 or $500. Probably $500, I think, is what I've seen for the Obsidian series, which is synthetic stock, but same action, same barrel, same good trigger. And they shoot, and you can get them in almost all of Weatherby's really popular Weatherby cartridges. 257 Weatherby mag, 6.5 by 300 Weatherby if you want a real screamer, 300 Weatherby. Unfortunately, if you want to get into the real niche, really obscure, 270 Weatherby, 7mm Weatherby mag, those ones, you're only going to find those in their Mark V series and the higher end Weatherby 307 series, which I'm actually hoping to get a 307 soon, probably in 22 Creed. But yeah, I'm hoping to do a review on one of those soon. But either way, today we were talking about this gun. I picked it up probably 3 years ago now, 3 or 4 years ago. I'm a quarter bore fanatic. I love quarter bores. As you guys saw, first video I did in depth was on my 25-06. That's a gun that I've had for a lot of years, love it to death. Well, I saw this Woodstock Vanguard sitting on one of the local sporting goods shelves, brand new. I think sticker was like $900, obviously, because it's the wood version. And I'm like, man, I really want that rifle. And chambered in 257 Weatherby mag, I mulled it over and I ended up purchasing it. And this is probably, you know, the 25-06 is like my first love. It was my first centerfire bolt action that I bought. But the Weatherby, this gun is probably, in terms of my centerfire bolt actions, one of my favorites at the time. Like right now, I do have the most money in this gun out of pretty much any other bolt action that I own, between you know, the Vanguard Woodstock 26-inch barrel 257 Weatherby mag. I've got a bipod on here that I bought used off a buddy. I don't remember the exact brand or specs, although I do know it's like $150 bipod, brand new. He gave me a bit of a deal on it. Same thing with the scope. He gave me a deal on the scope. This is a Diamondback Tactical Vortex 6-24 by 50. So this exact setup I used last year to shoot a doe just up on the ridge here in the same spot at about 350 yards. I was actually back over there on one of those ridges that you can see just past the vehicle, and took her at 350 yards with this setup and hand loads with the 115 burgers. So overall, you know, what do I think of this rifle? It's definitely a heavier platform because it's the Woodstock. The triggers on these Vanguards are not unreal, right? I mean, I've shot some proofs, so I've dealt with the like unreal rifles, but for a budget gun, you know, your average Vanguard's $600, $700, $800. That's a really good trigger, really solid action. Even though these are Howa 1500 actions and they're made in the same factory, if you hold a Howa and you hold the Vanguard, it's really doesn't even feel like the same gun. Yes, same action shape, whatever. It feels like they put more effort into the Weatherby actions than they did the Howe actions. Now maybe that's just, oh, it's got the name Weatherby, so that's why I think that a little bit placebo effect, maybe, not so sure. But other than that, they come with a 1 MOA guarantee and with Weatherby ammunition, and I can confirm that this gun does it. This gun loves the Barnes 100 grain TTSX. I've shot 5-shot 1 MOA groups. Obviously, because it's a sporter barrel, you have to give it time to cool, because that's a 3,500 feet a second load out of this gun. You can't just go shoot that 5 in a row and expect to get a great group. You can't even shoot 3 in a row really hot and expect to get, you know, a half MOA group. But if you give the bore time, you don't overheat your rifle, this gun is easily capable of 3/4 MOA 3-shot and sub 1 MOA 5-shot. Is it, you know, your extreme shooter half MOA? Not in 257 Weatherby mag. I'm not saying it's not an accurate cartridge. I know that one guy I like to watch on YouTube is Reloading Weatherby. He's got a Weatherby Vanguard, the synthetic stock version. He loves that thing, shoots the snot out of it. He shoots some fantastic groups with some of his hand loads out of that gun. I am actually going to be doing some hand load testing today. I'll show you guys the groups. I had a load with this that was around 3/4 MOA with the 115 burgers. That's the load that I used to kill that doe last year. However, I was using IMR 7828 SSC, and I just can't find that powder right now, or at least I haven't taken the time to find it. And I have a lot of H1000 on hand. So I've worked up a few loads with H1000. I've got 12 rounds today. So we'll probably do 2 3-shot groups with each just to confirm. Make sure the rifle's dialed, and then I want to have that load so that way I can hunt with this thing this year. This property that I'm on is one of my original permission pieces, and it's basically, there's no woods, it's just a lot of field, but it's surrounded by woods and CRP. So I'm gonna get set up in a box blind this year. I wanted to last year, but I didn't have time to get the blind set up. But out here on this, and when I'm out on those bean field type properties, this is my rig of choice. Also, the way that we hunt the late Wisconsin antlerless season, out here, this property is really hilly, rolling terrain, as you can kind of see behind me a little bit. I love taking this rifle, and we love doing spot and stalks out here. The last 2 hours before daylight, we'll come off the road, drive by, you'll see deer, you'll come down one of the farm lanes, park, and then do a spot and stalk, try to get within a couple hundred yards of a deer, and be able to take a shot during the late antlerless rifle season that we have in this county in Wisconsin. So yeah, that's my plan for this rifle this season. But today I just want to shoot it a little bit, give you guys an idea. It's not anything crazy, but I wanted to show the gun because this gun is definitely the most popular of all my guns that I have posted on this channel. I think that video has like 7,000 views, which isn't a lot, obviously, especially in the short world, but for someone like me who's just kind of dinking around in their free time, that's quite a few. So it's between this one and my CZ, that other short is up. That gun has quite a few too, so I'll probably do an in-depth review on that 22 Hornet sometime too. So I'm gonna go get targets set up, and we're gonna shoot this thing, do a little bit of load testing, and then yeah, you guys can at least see, does this thing shoot worth a darn? Well, the first group obviously isn't very promising here. We're gonna shoot another one just to see. That was off a freshly cleaned bore, so I've heard of things such as acclimated a bullet and things like that. I don't know if I really believe much of that nonsense, but we'll give this loading a fair shake, shoot another group. Reminder, I still love the gun. The gun is very accurate. I'll put some pictures in of different groups I've shot with it, with the factory stuff and some of my other hand loads if I've got them. But again, this is accuracy testing hand loads, so it's a very good possibility it doesn't like this load. We can go up half grain in powder and it might love it to death. So we're gonna just try it out and see, and it might not like this powder at all, in which case it'll be back to the drawing board. So Well, slightly better. I would call that more 1.5 inches as opposed to the other ones more like 3 inches. So group size cut in half, but either way, that's not what we're looking for. Looking for sub 1 MOA, so we're going to go ahead and cover these and reset and shoot the 71 grains. Well, if that first shot was a fluke, which I don't feel like it was all that bad, that's what we're looking for. We can replicate that again, except all 3 of them, you know, right in that vicinity, I'd be happy. But that is still not quite what we're looking for. We're gonna shoot another 3 and try it out. Real quick, was just editing the video that you guys are watching. Realized that for the last group with 71 grains of powder, I did not have the camera set up properly. So unfortunately, I don't have that group, but instead what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna roll in here some of the previous groups I've got with this gun, so that way you can kind of see, you know, that those hand loads obviously did not shoot out of that gun, that this gun is indeed a shooter. So check those out here, and then we'll get back to my summary of the gun. Here we go, guys. We're gonna be attempting the backfire 1 MOA challenge. This is a group I just shot 3. We're gonna go for a 5-shot group. I am gonna be taking some pretty good breaks between shots because these bullets are moving at 3,500 feet a second. It is a Weatherby Vanguard and 257 Weatherby mag, 100 grain TTSX. Here we go. All right, guys, here you go. The micrometer group size is about 1.1, so it just barely over, not even hardly considered. I definitely pulled that shot on me. When you look at a 3-shot group size, I think that's more representative of rifle's accuracy. All right, final thoughts on the 257 Weatherby mag and the Weatherby Vanguard. I love this gun. I know we didn't get great groups out of it today. Obviously, I've got some work to do with the hand loads. I just wanted to get out here and testing and film a little bit and show you guys, you know, what really the gun is, you know. 26-inch barrel, wood stock, Weatherby Vanguard. Honestly, really high quality wood too. It doesn't feel chintzy. The checkering feels good. Feels like a classic hunting rifle. I love this gun. I spent a lot of time with it. If you're wondering what recoil is like on the 257 Weatherby mag, I think I've heard it compared mostly to like 270-ish. It's a lot stouter than a 25-06 because of all that extra powder and speed. I'd say you're in that 270, 30-06 area. Definitely not a Magnum, but you know, stouter recoil, definitely made for adults. In terms of flat shooting, this thing's an absolute laser beam. I don't have to go over the ballistics in this video. There's a gazillion videos out there on the ballistics of a 257 Weatherby mag, but you know, if you're into that kind of stuff, just go plug in the Burger bullet, I think, which is about the best that you can get out of a 25 cal bullet with a 10 twist. And that moving at about 3,300 feet a second out of this gun, absolute laser beam, nightmare on whitetails. Killed 2 deer with this gun, 2 does. One was kind of on a drive situation. We ended up doing a drive when it was unexpected. The first year I had this gun, or the first year I got to hunt with it, that was a 100 grain TTSX, hit her a little back and had to put a second one in her to finish the job. But on a perfect situation, non-running deer, I shot one with the Burger last year up in this field. Dumped her, did not even move, you know, 350 yards is exactly what those Burger bullets are designed to do. Didn't get an exit, but doesn't really matter when it's a bang flop on a deer. That's what those bullets are designed to do. They're designed to go in and tear up the lungs, and that's sure what that one did. That BC that I mentioned brings me to my #1 only complaint with this gun, and it's not even real complaint because it's the kryptonite of every single 25 cal quarter bore rifle on the market except for the 25 Creeds. 1 in 10 twist limits you to 115 to 120 grain bullets. I would love to have this be a fast twist 1 in 7, 1 in 8, to where I can run the 130s out of this thing up to the 135s. That would take this from a phenomenal deer size game all the way up to where this would actually be a legitimate viable elk hunting round. Yes, if you run 120 grain Partians, keep your shots within 300 yards, this thing's gonna dump elk. guaranteed. However, I would love it if I could get those 130 to 135s running in this gun. So if you guys are quarter bore fanatics like me, please like the video, share the video, get as many views as we can. Share it to Mr. Adam Weatherby himself, because if he could just start chambering these with a in a 1 8 twist barrel, the 25-06s and the 257 Weatherby mags, please, 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 please save these old cartridges. Give them the opportunity at new life to run with a fast twist barrel and the heavy bullets, because we all know, at least if you look at the numbers, yeah, 6.5 or 25 Creed, it's gonna outrun a 25-06 with 100 grain TTSX versus a 25 Creed with a 135 ELDX. It's gonna outrun it at 500 yards. It's gonna have more energy, less wind drift. Drop's gonna be competitive. Once you get out to 800, the 25 Creed is actually gonna even have the advantage in drop. But if you were to be able to run that bullet without having to build a custom rifle, yes, you can do it. And yes, maybe one day when this barrel is shot out, I will put a fast twist barrel on this gun. But, you know, in a factory situation, you can't compete. The closest thing you can get now, if you start comparing a high BC 115, yeah, you're gonna compete out to that, you know, 700-800 yard range. Once you're running, whether it's the 110 ELDX, 115 Burger, even the 101 LRX gives you a little bit of an advantage too over, say, a 100 grain TTSX or a 100 grain interlock, something like that. But if we could just, in a factory gun, be able to shoot, and then manufacturers could load those factory heavies in for these guns, these old cartridges are going to stomp and outrun ballistically the new stuff every day of the week. Now I get it, barrel life's not going to be there, but that's what you sign up for when you buy a Magnum. Same thing as the 22 Creed. Look at that. That's an overbore cartridge. They run the heavies, they run fast twist barrels, and they run heavy bullet for caliber. They get great BC, flattest trajectory on the market. Can you imagine if we could have that in a factory gun, you know, to where we didn't have to put a barrel on it? Again, I totally understand there are people doing that. There's the 25.7 PRC where people are doing that. 25 6.5 PRC, people are pushing those heavies about the same speed as you can push them in a 257 Weatherby mag. But again, nothing's factory, nothing's SAMI approved. That's all wildcatting. That's spending thousands and thousands of dollars. For the average person, you're not going to get that opportunity. Will I have some of those one day? I hope so. But please, if you know, whatever it takes, I hope somebody out there starts chambering these in fast twist. And my argument for doing it is this: Weatherby has already started it on their 240 Weatherby mag. If you go and look at the Weatherby model 307 chambered in 240 Weatherby mag, that has a 1 7.5 twist barrel. So that way you could shoot the 115 Burgers or 115 Noslers in the 6mm diameter. You could shoot those out of that rifle and stabilize out of a factory rifle that costs you about $1,000. If they would do that, I would pick up another 257 Weatherby in a heartbeat, because I would love the opportunity to load those heavies in it, because it would be just a phenomenal long range round, pushing at, you know, hopefully 3,200 feet a second, 3,250 maybe, if you're really pushing it hot, you know, out of a 26-inch barrel with the 135s. That would be some mean medicine. So yeah, end of the day, that's the only complaint that I have about this gun. Again, not a valid complaint, because there is not a single one on the market. 25-06, 257 Weatherby. I don't even think anybody's making 257 Roberts anymore. So again, only complaint, not even a valid complaint. Love this gun. If you're looking for a 257 Weatherby, either go with the Vanguard. If you got a little bit more money to spend, buy the 307. Looks like a great gun. Can't wait to get my hands on one and review it. But yeah, thank you again for watching. If you see one of these in your shop, don't be scared of the 257 Weatherby. If you can reload it, you can reload it for $2 a round. And the reality is, at that rate, you'll never burn out the barrel, which is your only other concern expense-wise in these. Yeah, I mean, you can have it, enjoy it. Absolute laser beam on whitetails. I'm hoping to take this gun on a Western hunt here soon. Spot and stock maybe next year or the year after for either mule deer or whitetail. I just think it's the perfect ticket for that. Little heavy, but that heaviness, what keeps you planted and allows you to take those long shot opportunities. One last thing I want to mention about the gun before we go. This is not the threaded model, but almost all of the new Weatherby Vanguards are threaded. So again, if you want to run a can on it, Weatherby's got that accompanied for you too. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.